Hello everyone. My name is Nur Adiba Raihan binti Afendi and I'm from Department of Commerce Polytechnic Muka Sarawak, Malaysia. My today's presentation is on a study on students' online learning performance and satisfaction during the pandemic, the case for Tibet education institutions in Borneo, Malaysia. Higher education is among the most profoundly impacted sectors during COVID-19 pandemic, where 1.6 billion learners in 194 countries are unable to conduct teaching and learning process at schools and universities. Therefore, many institutions have reconsidered migrating from traditional learning to online learning. Let us look at a few samples where online learning was imposed in Malaysia and Hong Kong. In Malaysia, people were not prepared and trained for online learning at first. It was quite difficult to use this new method due to several reasons. One of it is due to undertrained academic staff to conduct online classes. Second, the legal provision for academics right is not as strong at that time. That gave rise to copyright issue where a lot of educators upload their teaching and learning materials online. And lastly, due to limited internet access, especially in rural states like Sabah in Malaysia. It's a different story for Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a well-prepared digital platform and equipment to enhance both online asynchronous and synchronous communicative tools during the pandemic, but still the issue with the clarity of course arrangements and socioeconomic factors like the study environment and access to equipment become the main concern. Based on the study conducted by Xiong, Jiang, and Mok, only 27% out of 1,227 respondents were satisfied with their online learning. A major challenge for them was inappropriate learning space, poor internet connections, and difficulty in communicating with lecturers after class. This study is focused on TVET Education Institution, which is the technical and vocational education and training, since there is limited information available in another research. Several authors carried out research on the performance of students during online lectures compared to traditional face-to-face instructions. Unexpectedly, the results of the studies show that there is no significant difference in student performance for both methods. One of the articles written by Simon and Yatrakis in the year 2002 shows that students who prefer to enroll in online courses voluntarily have higher satisfactions and retentions of information compared to students who have no other choices but to attend the online classes. In another study conducted by Deriswiski and Rich in the year 2011, this result shows that the students who joined the online accounting courses achieved similar results to those of the students enrolled in the traditional face-to-face learning. And lastly, in the one of the research conducted by Campbell, Floyd, and Sheridan in the year 2011 shows that online students can answer an average of 31.3 questions correctly as compared to students who attend physical classes who answer an average of 24.4 questions correctly. All of these studies shows that the method of teaching, whether using online or face-to-face classes, does not merely affect students' performance as a whole, but there are other problems that arise from online learning, which is a higher dropout rates among the students. This study employed a retrospective self-report questionnaires via Google Form. The questionnaire is segregated into three sections. Section number 1 is regarding the respondent personal informations. Section number 2 is regarding the respondent online learning platform. Section number 3, the rating scales of online learning challenges. The rating scales of online learning challenges was asked using the Likert scale ranging from 1 to 5, where number 5 is for strongly disagree and number 1 is strongly agree. The respondents of this study were 123 active students from Polytechnic Muka in Borneo, Malaysia. These respondents were non-engineering students majoring in accountancy and secretarial science, and the rest of the respondents were electrical engineering, whose age ranged from 17 to 25 years old. The respondents have already been involved with online synchronous and asynchronous education infrastructure for at least 3 semesters. The mean score and standard deviation for respondent challenges during online learning were analyzed using IBM SPSS 27.0 software. This is the types of challenges that were asked in section 3 of the questionnaires. There are 7 types of challenges. These questionnaires were adapted from a previous study written by Berrod, Linares, and Del Rosario in year 2021. For the reliability and clarity of the questionnaires, the authors used 2 experienced educators and researchers to review the questionnaires before distributing and using it in their research. Based on the response that we get from the questionnaires, for an asynchronous education infrastructures, learning management system LMS such as Moodle is used to facilitate between students without time constraint. Based on table 2 here, 67.1% of the respondents in Polytechnic Tuan Khursyid Syarajuddin, Malaysia, utilize LMS in their learning activity. As for synchronous education infrastructure, 79.3% of the respondents use Microsoft Teams as video conferencing tools to conduct online learning, followed by Google Classroom and Zoom. Other than that, the results show more than 50% students prefer to use WhatsApp as a medium to communicate with lecturers. Table 3 shows the mean and standard deviation for each of the challenges that the student faced during online learning. Berrod, Linares, and Del Rosario questionnaire was put to use in this study for comparison. According to the finding, the most significant challenge that TVET students face is related to the Learning Environment Challenge, LEC, with a mean score of 3.06 and a standard deviation of 0.83. Students have to overcome obstacles such as distractions at home, like family and the surrounding noise, and limits in studying space and amenities. On the other hand, the technological literacy and competency, TLCC, with a mean score of 2.66 and a standard deviation of 0.76 is the least challenge faced by TVET students during online classes. Students have poor understanding of directions and expectation during online classes. This might be due to the communication problem between both lecturers and students, as some students may lack competence and proficiency in using technologies. Nevertheless, over half of the students gave a moderate response for other challenges that they experienced during online classes. The purpose of this study was to examine the challenges faced by TVET students during online learning. It was determined that the students were most affected by their surrounding, LEC in this case, rather than the methods of the teaching itself. Students have low self-control and self-discipline in completing their online courses, which will lead to a higher dropout rate among the students. Some of the recommendations are to establish student support group. It is to ensure that the students have someone to motivate them when they feel unmotivated or to remind them about tasks to be completed. Other than that, lecturers can use social media as a channel to conduct online classes. This is because results from this study shows that students were most distracted by social media. Lecturers can utilize social media platforms that are favored by the student to conduct online classes. For example, using the Facebook group to carry out discussion about the topic studied. Further studies can be carried out to examine the effectiveness of the suggested actions. That's all from me. Thank you.